Welcome to EVE Online, I'm Major Freak. So, how to... I am not a programmer. I have little or no experience with the hardware end of things. I have little or no experience with, you know, obviously software because I'm not a programmer. Uh, but I do have a lot of common sense. And I do think laterally. And what bugs the hell out of me is that after almost a dozen years of tie-dye, it feels to me when it was first introduced, just like around the time of Incarna, that when we were sold this idea, that the gist of it was there were two options, either servers or tie-dye, and or there were two solutions. And what I got out of this dev blog was that yeah, it's a really difficult, hard uphill battle to get these servers upgraded. So we're gonna go with this, and we're like, okay, and it's been almost a dozen years. I'm like, okay, I'm trying to watch Twitch comments from last year. I mean, sorry, listen to these guys talk on about, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you know, it's, it gets to a point where I think the obvious question isn't being asked. When we started this whole tie-dye thing, and there was a process, I think it's still available, to request a server or a splinter or something. I forget what it's called, but to request, make a petition for a big fight to pre-plan the dedication of, a Jita like splinter or something. I forget what it's called. It's been a while. And to me, that just, okay, that's great, but it's been 12 years. Why the F are we still petitioning for this crap? Why hasn't CCP gone? We need something to keep players interested in the game and not spend 6 hours doing a 15-minute battle, you know? Or, I don't know. I avoid tie-dye and the nullsec blocks like the plague. Um, I'm exaggerating out of ignorance, but you get the gist, right? So why the hell can't they just create that? They love metrics. Why can't they create the metrics to detect and have a reserve backup of these server, splinter, whatever, dedicated nodes? That was it, a node. Why can't they have nodes like they make millions of freaking month? Come on, give me a break. That's not to keep the lights on. Take a hike. They are making bank. They were paid 400. Well, they were supposed to be paid 425 million for the company by Perlabis. That's a lot of investment. It's like half a billion. It's like seriously. Um, and they have not, after 12 years, this uphill battle, decided, hey, we need reserve sets of nodes because there's going to be big fights every once in a while, and we need to cut down this tie-dye thing. Why don't we have metrics to detect when a certain system needs a node instead of having, oh, well, just fill out this paperwork and we'll just go sniff cocaine or something? It's like the amount of vitriol we have towards CCP is warranted. They have pissed away their their goodwill by sitting on the laurels of TiDi for 12 years. And, I mean, yeah, we're doing a great job. It's like, no, you're not. You're bullshitting us. You're pissing in our ear and telling us it's raining. It's like, this has been the way it has been forever. And what are they called? They were talking about Quantus or Quantum or Corner or some new server software hijinks that's cutting edge. I'm sure it's in the blogs, but it's like, you talk about all this fancy stuff, but at the end of the day, it's been 12 years and you have not iterated on TiDi. I mean, I'm sure there's still the petition to dedicate a node to a fight coming up. Why can't they have it? Why does it need to be just one node? I mean, I'm sure I'm entering a gray zone of complete ignorance on the subject, but I'm sure there's uh, I'm thinking of, sorry, the add more than uh, three modules and you get diminishing returns. I mean, I'm sure there's diminishing returns to lumping on more and more servers to handle a load, but why don't they have reserve nodes for this kind of thing? Why don't they have metrics to detect, oh, a system needs another node, let's add it. Oh, needs another node, let's add it. Oh, we've got about 10 more reserve nodes. We make enough money per month to afford this. It's been 12 years. When's the last time they upgraded their CPUs? I don't know. I'm just talking out my ass right now. I have no idea about hardware. But, you know, they brag on and on about having enterprise level freaking, what is it? It's just, it's like, we have this. It's 2.5 tons. It's like, okay, great. That's wonderful. Add another toaster, would you? But yeah, I mean, this is back in 2010, I think, and it still hasn't changed, you know. They talk about how complicated it is. It's like, could you just stop talking about, is is stackless Python still cool? I mean, what about Aether? What is Aether's engine built on? Is it stackless Python? Is it something else? Um, I was never aware that this might be an alternative to TiDi. Had CCP sold it that way, I might have actually participated because it's not an immediate practical concern of mine, but I mean, it would be nice to have tie-dye be at least less of a crutch. So, like, where would, like, it's difficult finding the let's try something here. Sorry, a brain fart. Dev blog about, was it the server node architecture? No, it was Aether. Aether CCP Eve blog. There we go. Yeah, this was recent, wasn't it? A couple of years ago. Yeah, it was never like, maybe I'm just stupid and I just didn't read what they said, but the gist of it never was a kernel of this might be a solution to tie-dye, and that's exciting. And the problem is, my intuition. Here's the theory: they didn't sell it that way because people will get behind it and push, and CCP in a I think it's, I might have lost it in the Google Aether. I could look it up, but it was that there was an article that that talked about Hadeon, um, and Ilmar was blabbing on about, it was just an experiment, and we need to do more testing, blah blah blah. And my brain went, you just don't want to invest in this, and you want somebody else to do it for you for free. He's so used to externalizing all the hard work, right? So it's just like, thanks CCP, we'll just go beta test for you because you don't have any Q&A department. So I'll read that. Helmar. I thought it was Hilmar. Lol. Uh, yeah. To me, it was like, oh, a new, yeah. It's like, sure, it's most concurrent, but it's not Eve, right? It's just a simulation of Eve, and it's probably a watered down engine of Eve, and to me, it just didn't. It felt like, oh, we're gonna try Aether, and it's a new experience, and you're like, that's not Eve, though, right? I didn't get the gist of it. It's like that's meaningless numbers. What's the practical application to Eve, right? What would it help with Eve? This was just like, let's help somebody else do something. And you're like, okay. Yeah, it was a different engine, so it had no uh, logical. There was no leap of logic to how could we apply this technology to Eve, right? It was just like, this is going to be fun, and these guys have got an idea, and it's for like, yeah, but it's not Eve, so why should we care, right? Um, and they didn't give us a reason to care, you know. It's like, what kind of record can we do? It's like, yeah, but it's not Eve, so what's the applications? What are the benefits for Eve through this, right? I'm just looking for talk about TiDi replacing. This is might be a solution to TiDi, right? Um, no stackless Python. How's it compare? Why did we not go with a little blurb about why doesn't Eve run on Unreal Engine 4 for obvious reasons? I'm assuming, but you know, sorry, I'm just looking for it. Come on, I could just do a search, but they might be using terms that aren't exactly tie-dye, so that's why I'm not doing the Control F. Yeah, right at the end there, blurp, and it's like, but that's what It's like, oh, you know, move on to the bullet points because everybody's eyes glaze over at bullet points. Yeah, right. That's probably it. That is probably it. It just felt like a cheap knockoff off of Eve. That's the gist I got, and I was like, so what's the point, right? Well, That apparently was the point, but obviously I missed it. Having my eyes glaze over reading this crap. Is there anything? Oh, sorry. Okay, this. All right. So this was 2000. So this, I'll copy this because I mean, that's important. Why don't we talk about that more? Did Aether Wars work? I don't know. I didn't give it much thought, right? So this was okay in the beginning of that year. Okay. What the fuck does that even mean? I mean, is you know the double speak of programmers or wannabe script kiddies. It's just annoying. The hell? Is he kidding me? I'm sure it's a gaming thing. Uh-huh. I think he just pulled that word out of his ass. Idiot. Okay, there's some slightly later than this. Yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous blather. It's like technical blah 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 blah, and it's like talk about freaking TiDi. What the that infrastructure? It's like that power our internet's what you know. Could you use like English? Could you just come back to Earth and use English? You know, Major Tom. Okay, so they're cloud based. Great. Uh huh. Okay. Is that the? That's the Quantar or whatever the hell they're talking about, right? Okay. I'm pretty sure it was really thick. Um. That's it. There's not. Come on, just talk. Could you just hint? And this is what I think they were just scared of people getting excited and pushing, right? They didn't want to spend the money because, I mean, aforementioned coke habits. I mean, I'm sorry for being so negative. It's just that you guys have squandered totally the promise you had about the two prongs of this, you know? The two prongs that were, well, we either do tie-dye or we do, sorry, let me find it. Yeah, but reduced load or increased processing capacity, right? Um, I think that was an initiative they talked about in the past. That's not actually, it's just. Yeah, it's too bad that the inability to exploit the multi cores in CPUs is surprisingly lacking. Um, yeah, you'll have to read it. My brain's just like melting right now. I just had enough of this crap. There's only so much smiling, stupid faces I can take. Um, I am not going to listen to all that. Uh, it's it's just one excuse after another, painted over and glossed over and whitewashed, and it's like, you guys had 12 years. You never followed up on the second option. You sat on your laurels with TiDi, and you just don't care. And after every big battle, the server size shrinks because people are like, I don't want to repeat this experience. I just spent 6 hours on that half an hour battle. What the hell? You know? It's like, why should I play this stupid game? It's like, that was boring as hell. You know? And they're like, it works. We got a record. And it's like, yeah, of TiDi 1%. Good for you. You know? Yeah, it's all right. So, is this the one they talk about it? I forget the name of their new slick software. What was it? Okay, whatever. Uh-huh. No, this is not the one. What the hell? What was it? I forget. Going through the blogs is just impossible. It really is. It's just they've it's no longer you can go through. Can you go through the dev blogs? I think it's just articles now, just news. Um, they used to go, you could check news or you could dev blogs, and the annoying thing that the dev blogs and the news started to mesh. It was really annoying. You used to be able to check, like, seriously, you could go through dev blogs and stuff. So you have to go, and there's no ability. You can search.
A few moments later.
Painful. Quasar. Freaking hell. How did I miss that? Oh, it was dev block. Jesus Christ. Okay. I think I'll just split the video. A few moments later. Quasar. What the hell is that? Huh, whatever. Ugh. Take a hike. Is that what they were talking about? Like, they were like, blah, 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 PC, and I'm like, what? It's, what did it sound like?
Line graph that is not as simple as having a month's downtime and looking at the code and just rewriting or automatically transferring to a new system, which is why this is more of a continuous process, something we've been doing for the last 17 years, and in particular we've been focused on both new feature development, focusing on new players, but also attending to the veteran players and to the general health in the last few years.
Shut up.
Chimichanga, that we want to have the client connect directly to the domain services using gRPC rather.
I thought he said geo. Like I was trying to go, is that geo as in planet? You know? Stupid accent. All right, so ugh, where is it? Where is it? That's here. Okay. Quasar. All right. Let's stick that in here. Get rid of this shit. Okay, so gRPC. That's what he's talking about. Probably meaningless blather. Okay, what? That. Use English, damn it. Really? Great. You know, nothing of this is talking about metrics to detect when a system needs more nodes, right? This is just them masturbating. I don't know what nerds do when they're talking programming. It's like, Jesus Christ. Could you just use plain English, please? And explain how this is going to help with TiDi, right? You know, IOCP, implementation CarbonIO, became the foundation, and then they just don't talk about it anymore. It's like, how is this going to improve? What is it going to do? Like, this is all pretty, but what's it got to do with TiDi? And how are you going to, or is there going to be any detection, or do we still have to requisition a node for a dedicated fight, you know? Why isn't there more reserve nodes for fights? Can you get Quasar to help with that? Are there going to be metrics to detect that? Are you going to have better systems to deal with, you know, I mean, this might be the second phase of you know, this god damn it, where is it? Give me a sec. Yeah, here, that's the quote. So, okay, this was said back in like over a dozen years, almost a dozen years ago. Okay, we're at the point of Quasar. Talk a bit more about TiDi. You know, how does it relate to the Hadeon? What did you learn from Hadeon? How can you, you know, I mean, I think they talk about this, the Aether Wars. They didn't talk about, you know, how could Hadeon help? Why are we not partnering up with Hadeon for this cloud thing, right? It's like all this, it's like you don't sound like you're collaborating. You sound like you're playing off somebody else for marketing and that's it. You know, this is all a bunch of marketing crap, and it sounds very much alike and looks very much like you're going to ram this stuff down our throat, and eventually we're going to have the Black Desert in-game shop, basically, that's in your face all the time, right? And we're not fools. We see it. We see it coming. But it's like you're blabbing on about, you tease us in the beginning, and then you just stop talking about it. And you're like, pretty. And you're like, what? Can you just, could you just calm down on the ADHD and cut to the chase after 12 years and use plain English and talk to us with good business sense of going, you know, after every huge battle, we see our numbers drop. And that's definitely got something to do with the experience that a lot of those players have. Those, what, 4,000, 6,000, whatever players have during that battle. And they look, do I really want to look at another battle in the future like this? And it just, you know, those numbers drop, and it's obvious, you know. Yeah, you get no answers out of it except stupid smiling faces saying, "This is great news, thank you." And you're like,